It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. We know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 365. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe.
Hello.
Hello. So we are gearing up for our big vacation. By the time you hear this, we will be in Hawaii.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. We've thought that before.
We have. We have.
We've thought that 2 other times.
And it did not happen.
It did not.
I won't believe it till we're in the islands. Then I will believe it.
What about, so when we're on the plane,
Nope.
it could still turn around?
Yeah, because number one, heard some horror stories lately about planes getting rerouted places
Right.
because of some asshole. So that
yeah.
happens. 2, we could have a plane crash and die.
Well, goodness.
I
That
know.
took a turn.
Okay, well, have you been inside my anxiety-ridden head? This is where I go. So either of those things could happen. I'm just saying.
So if that happens, feel free to cancel your Patreon subscription.
Yeah, well, you won't be getting a bonus episode.
Yes, will that be a bonus episode? But it'll be a really spooky bonus episode.
On the flip side, if we do make it there, we'll have a lot of fun.
Yes.
And then we will have a fun bonus episode for people.
Let's hope.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm open for that.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for that, just to be clear.
I would hope so.
Like,
the other thing would be like...
I'm not rooting for that.
Yeah.
I just, anxiety mind is not a fun one. I don't know what else to say. Perimenopause, intrusive thoughts. Look it up. It's not fun.
Oh, you were having those long before that.
Yeah, and then they got worse. I agree.
So before we forget...
Yeah, we need to remember.
Bingo.
Alex Karwoski.
There we go. Okay. And then what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
We have a great interview with Christina Kalie. That is one thing. We're going to talk about zombie Peloton land. We are also going to do a recap over the Lululemon member event. And we have a visit from Dr. Jenn, knowing when you're ready for your next challenge. We also have a bunch of in the news stuff about the instructors, not to mention new artist series, celebrity sightings, and a bunch of new content headed your way.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful.
Yes.
And you can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Why are you grinning at me?
Because you almost said the wrong podcast.
I almost said Real Spoilers, but I did not. I said the Clip Out on Real Spoilers this week, so it would have only been fair
right.
to
it all evens out.
Cross-promote in such a manner. But you can find us on Facebook, as I was saying.
Yeah.
And
newsletter, Patreon.
You can sign up for the newsletter where we send out all the links and stuff that we throw at you. And I've revamped the newsletter in terms of where I put the links, so they have more links than they used to.
Ooh.
So I feel like it's gotten a little bit better. Not every story has a link.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
But in the past, I was taking the links that the production company helps us with, and I was really looking at them like, these aren't very good. So I started doing it a little differently. So there are more links in there now. So if you're looking for some of the stories, you can sign up for the newsletter at theclipout.com and you will get that sent to you. You can watch these all over on YouTube at youtube.com/theclipout. And then, of course, we have a Patreon, so obviously there's a lot of moving parts on a show like this, and there are expenses associated with that. And if you want to help out, we would love to be helped out. It's $5 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content, and you get ad-free episodes. Every week we record a bonus episode that's an extra 15, 20, 25 minutes, depending on how busy that week is, of stories we didn't have time to get to, right? And then you also, if we get it early, you get it early. So.
Yeah. And last week, we even got it early, even after I screwed it up, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah, we were kind of surprised by that.
Production company nailed it.
Some weeks are better than others. on both ends of that equation.
Yes.
So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Breaking news.
Okay, so it's like 3:30 in the morning. Hawaii time. But
Here we are.
Here we are. So we have breaking news, as the fancy breaking news sweeper should have told you, which is Kendall Toole is leaving Peloton.
Yes, she is. And I know a lot of people will be sad about that. I'm not one of those people. She's not my favorite person. So, but I know that anytime an instructor leaves, there are lots of people that are really connected to that person, and it's really hard to let it go.
Absolutely.
And for those people, I am truly sorry, because that's always really hard.
And there's all sorts of different instructors that for different personality types, right? That
Absolutely.
So every instructor resonates with people in different ways and different types of people.
That's why they have so many different kinds.
Absolutely. So do we know why she is leaving?
To pursue other interests.
Okay. Well, first off, let me say points for teasing a major announcement. That actually was a major announcement.
Yeah. It's like fascinating to me because she's been saying like today was going to be a major announcement, and I'm just like, okay, we get it. Like, what are you releasing the boyfriend's picture finally?
Right.
Or now you're going to be a singer and we're going to hear your single. Like, I really thought it was going to be something just ridiculous like that.
Right.
But no. I mean, it truly was
absolutely
newsworthy.
Yeah. People magazine covered it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure she got paid from that. Good for her.
Yeah.
And that is big news. And I also just want to address that a lot of people are going to go, oh my God, Ross has just left.
Sure.
Now Kendall's leaving. This is the end of Peloton. But let's not forget, this is also the time of year, as Cody just pointed out, that they're renegotiating contracts.
Right.
These contract negotiations have already occurred. That's how Ross knew that he was leaving in June. Mm-hmm. And now Kendall is leaving in June. And Cody just said
he signed.
He signed.
Yeah.
So, like, not saying there won't be more people leaving, but I also think it is very safe to say they already know whether or not they're leaving.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a situation where we're going to wake up and this is news to the instructor. The instructor is well aware of their decision and where they are on it.
So you have to wonder if more instructors are leaving, is what we're seeing a strategically staggered exit so it doesn't freak people out. Like, rather than waking up one day and 6 instructors are gone, are we going to see like one instructor every 2 to 3 months for the next year quietly leaving?
I think we will see them in June. I think if there are more, it will be in June because Ross announced it. But he said he was leaving in June. So I think that's when the contract negotiations are up. I just think the timing of that feels way too weird. And now he might have announced earlier, Ross is just a very different person
for sure
than Kendall. And so even if they were leaving on the exact same day, I just think that he would choose to handle it differently. And he's already said he's open to, coming back, and he's going to be doing special events with them and things like that. So I already get the impression it's just a different vibe for how he wanted to leave versus how she wanted to leave. And I don't even mean that either of them had ill will towards Peloton, but just that it just feels different. So I really, truly think that, like, if anything else is going to happen, it's going to be in the next 15 days. I don't think. Like, it's June 13th. I think that if anybody else is leaving, it'll be by the end of June, maybe into July.
So everybody's contracts are run?
I don't know how they are all set up. I just know that 3 instructors have mentioned contracts in a very short time period.
Right.
They keep it under wraps to a certain degree. So, like, there's no transparency, as there really shouldn't be.
Right.
So it's kind of hard for us to glean what exactly that means.
Right.
But I'm just thinking I would have thought prior to this, if Cody had not just got done saying that he had just signed his contract, I would have thought, okay, they're staggering contracts. But the fact that Cody just said that tells me, regardless if you're an instructor that's been around a long time or a new instructor, they're within a very narrow window.
Right.
I don't know how else to read that.
Yeah, it's just weird to have all your instructors kind of signed to individual contracts, but within the same 4 to 6 week window.
I agree. Yeah, I do agree with that. But in the past, it's pretty much been it feels like every year there's always one or two people that, Daniel was the last one.
Right.
That something goes wrong. And it's just like, that's just going to happen. I mean, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of instructors. The fact of the matter is it's a lot of really big personalities. And the fact of the matter is they also have so many other offers coming at them. Kendall has never been shy about the fact that she was on to bigger and better things. Peloton was just a stop on the way to get there.
Yeah.
She's also never been shy about she misses California, doesn't like living in New York. And quite frankly, a lot of people have noticed she has not been happy for a long time. So I don't think that's a me thing.
Right.
I think that's just the vibe she gives off to people and how she treats people. So I don't think this means mass exodus or this means anything other than there was a contract negotiation and she had options and she took those options.
Right. I would think it's a good sign that they locked in Cody because he has to be one of the more expensive instructors to
Absolutely.
lock in. On the flip side, I would have thought, with all due respect to Ross, he's probably one of the lesser expensive instructors. Does that seem reasonable?
I don't know.
Yoga isn't as focused of a modality, to them as like bike or tread.
Again, there's never been any transparency.
Right.
So I don't know if that's true because Ross is a very big deal in the yoga world.
Okay.
So getting him was always a major coup.
Okay.
And he also kind of like shaped the yoga discipline within Peloton. He had a lot of fingerprint all over that.
So getting him was more establishing credibility for yoga with it at Peloton yoga.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So Kendall is maybe medium tier, like
I don't.
Not as big as a Robin or a
I don't
Cody.
know. I think in the last
she's definitely gotten bigger.
Yeah, I definitely think. Okay, I don't know how to say this without it sounding bad, but like I just think she is much bigger in her own mind than maybe Peloton wants her to be.
Yeah.
And I think there's always going to be certain personality types that grow faster than what the company thinks you should. For all the people's comments about Robin and how she's so, after grandeur.
Right.
She has grown with the company, not against them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But whereas Kendall, I think, is like, I should be a Robin and I should be a Robin right now.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to be feasible.
Yeah.
Like, if she thought she should get paid on the same level as a Robin, and I'm not saying she did, I don't know that.
Right.
But let's just say that's where she thought, or she thought she should be that popular, or she thought she should be a senior VP,
receiving that degree of corporate focus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just like any company you start at, you always have to go. You don't just get to skip 8 levels and go to the top. So I don't know, but that's just always the vibe she has given to me.
It reminds me of, that's kind of the issue I felt like they were having back in the day with Stephen Little.
Yeah.
Is in that Stephen Little was getting so popular that, especially at that point in Peloton's evolution, it sounds silly now, but in that point in time, you ran the risk of it being like, Peloton is the company that Stephen Little works at.
Yeah.
Not Stephen Little works at Peloton.
Yeah, I mean, Peloton does stay very focused on that. And honestly, for a long time now, I have thought, boy, if this was old Peloton regime, Kendall would have been gone a long time ago because of how inflated her ego is. And I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. And so I guess it's kind of, to me, like, okay, that makes sense. Like, to me, that makes sense. Her either she felt like she should be getting more than she should, or they were like, you want more than we think you should have. Either way, those two things, in my mind, that's the real issue here. Somebody felt like this wasn't a good match anymore for what next step should be.
One side or the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how this all feels to me. And it doesn't even mean that, like, either side has to be mad about it or, embittered about it. I didn't get the sense from Kendall's message that she was mad about it. And Peloton has never publicly spoken out about any instructor even when things did not go well.
Right.
So I don't think that this has to be a bad thing. And I also don't think it has to mean we're going to see a bunch more.
Right. Awesome. Well, there you go. We have another instructor leaving, and we will now return you to the clip out already in progress.
Peloton in the news.
Well, now I'm going to have that Cranberries song stuck in my head.
You know what? I took a Peloton class today that played Cranberries Linger. So
Here's a hot take. I don't like the Cranberries.
I know.
Her voice irritates me.
I get it. I do. I did like it when I was of the age that the Cranberries were new. Mm-hmm. I gotta say now I don't. But I was just telling somebody this week that like also it's different as you get older because they don't make music for what you're going through anymore. You know, like when you're a teenager and you're going through a breakup,
Right.
there's a breakup song for you. The shit we go through as adults, nobody makes music about that. I don't know that they should, but
Yeah,
they don't.
Probably, yeah.
So just throwing it out there. I'm not in the mood to listen to somebody go on and on about lingering or zombies.
Fair enough.
No yodeling in my life, thank you.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Especially of the Irish variety.
And you are Irish.
I can say that.
You can.
Irish yodeling is the worst.
It's a little screechy.
Yeah.
A little screechy.
Anyway, the reason we bring that up
Oh, yeah.
is because
There was a point.
There was an article from NBCConnecticut.com.
This got picked up in a lot of places. This just happened to be the one I grabbed.
Gotcha. Okay. And it's asking, it's talking about zombie companies, and it specifically mentions Peloton. So the question is Peloton a zombie company? So we will start by having you define zombie company.
Very simple. They are companies so laden with debt that they are just stumbling by on the brink of survival, barely able to pay even the interest on their loans, and often just a bad business hit away from dying off from good.
Oh, so we're a zombie country.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. But it was an interesting article, whether you think Peloton is, we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going away from that point. But I did think that this was super interesting, that the number of companies around the world has gone up. 7,000 publicly traded companies around the world, 2,000 in the United States, whiplashed by years of piling up cheap debt, followed by stubborn inflation that has pushed borrowing costs to decade highs.
Interesting.
And, I mean, Peloton did do that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of places did. You know, the interest rates were so cheap, and people like want those interest rates back, which I get. There are certainly advantages to that, but like I also think people lost sight of the fact that something that's turned into Yahoo Finance, but that like those were historic lows. Like interest rates weren't supposed to be that low. That was something we did to juice the economy, and
people don't have a collective memory.
They do not.
And I mean, yeah, they don't remember that. They didn't remember that. And that's how we got into the housing issue in the 90s?
When I bought my first house, I had like 9%. And when it fell to 7%, people were losing their minds like it was the deal of a lifetime, because it was.
Yeah.
And now people are like, just shocked and appalled if it gets to 7%.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's just fascinating, like how quickly people forget.
Well, especially since we spend a lot of time watching old sitcoms where they constantly talk about what's going on in the world circa whatever year that is.
Remember when Barney Miller, his apartment went condo, and he was clutching his pearls because they wanted $125,000 for him to buy that condo.
Yes. And it was a really high interest rate. It was like 18%.
Yeah.
It was like, because I was like, holy shit, that's a credit card.
Right. Yeah, like that's like putting a house on a credit card. Yeah.
And so yeah, like people do forget. People do forget, but
for sure.
It is
back
where
to
it is.
Peloton being a zombie company, they acquired all this debt when it was really inexpensive, and I guess, but those interest rates, they don't fluctuate, right? Like if you've already borrowed the money at that rate, you're locked into that deal.
Yeah, but then the loans come due, right? And remember, Peloton's loan just came due, and remember they refinanced it and tried to put a nice shiny face on it. And I was like, I mean, it's good that they refinanced it. They did what they said they were going to do.
But they probably went from like a 2% to like a 8% or whatever.
I mean, they probably have more favorable terms than the average person because
Sure.
they're borrowing so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it didn't stay wherever they had it, I'm sure.
Right.
And so this article also says that they are defined as companies that have failed to make enough money from operations in the past 3 years to even pay the interest on their loans. I feel like that's important to point out.
Okay.
I don't know that that's actually true about Peloton.
Right.
Like, we talk in the earnings call, and of course we only get the numbers they put out there in the SEC filing, but like, it's pretty well regulated. We got to assume they're telling the truth.
That's fair. If not, I mean,
it's a whole different set of
right.
problems.
Enron would never lie to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not saying Peloton is Enron.
No.
I'm just saying it's happened.
It has.
But it is also, one likes to think, knock wood, that it's rare.
You do like to think that. I will say, the old regime never would have let anything like that happen. I could say confidently, I can no longer say that as confidently.
Right now we don't have a regime.
There you go. That's exactly right.
It's like Bad News Bears breaking training, where they use the guy who does the keeping of the field's keeper guy.
Yeah.
To trick their parents into thinking they had a coach.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, they're not trying to trick anybody saying they have a CEO. Like, we're definitely paying a lot of money. And by we, I mean all of our money is
They
going.
haven't hired the groundskeeper to take over Peloton yet?
They haven't.
Okay.
But it does concern me whenever I see these numbers. I don't think that is necessarily true, because yes, they have not made as much money on the sales of equipment, but I don't know that they haven't made the same sales they were hoping to get, because they've gone up higher than they thought they would be on subscriptions and
Right.
things like that. So I don't know what number they're looking at. You look at a financial report, you can pick one little thing out.
For sure.
And you can make it sound really bad, or you can make it sound really good.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that it does concern me. Peloton just refinanced their debt, and they do have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole world doesn't seem to be doing that great when it comes to finances.
Yeah, I get that.
But it's not just Peloton.
It is not just Peloton. They list a lot of companies in this article besides Peloton.
Yeah, there's a ton. And I think it's safe to say that there are a lot of companies in general that we should be concerned about. And it'll be interesting, right? Because then you also have, not getting political here, but we have sometimes the government goes in and bails certain companies out.
For sure.
Not saying Peloton is anywhere near that. Don't worry.
I can't imagine a situation where the government would bail out Peloton.
No, but there are other things that I have thought that about. So.
Nor should they. But like, when they've done it in the past, it's been either major financial institutions that they're afraid if that company collapses, just the infrastructure of how money moves through the system is going to collapse. So they felt like they didn't have a choice. Or automotive industry, where it's linked to so many other things, they didn't have a choice. If Peloton went under, I don't think it rises to that level.
I agree.
Also, I still stand by the fact that Peloton is a strong enough brand name.
Somebody
that
buy the brand.
Someone would assume the brand, your bike would still work. You would still have instructors on there telling you things. It might not be all of the instructors, but I don't think that your bike, your tread, your row machine will just become bricks. I think that, if God forbid it came to that, and we have no reason to think that it will. It's just this article raises the question. But I think that Peloton, in some capacity, is going to be around for a long time.
I agree.
Maybe you'll have fewer classes than you're used to, but there is so much content that, like, even if they cut it in half, you'd still have a ton.
You would. I think the end of the day, I think that, when companies, when they're writing articles like this, it's always good to get clicks by putting Peloton in it. And I think that's important to remember.
Absolutely.
I think Peloton just refinanced their debt. They're in the news about that. It was an easy thing to pick on. I don't think this actually has any real bearing about Peloton's actual financial situation.
Yeah.
Because all the other companies they talk about in this situation have already failed. They have already gone under. So I really do think this is more about opening people's eyes in general to the fact that there are a lot of companies not in a good place. I think we should all keep our eyes on the next earnings report.
For sure. So that being said, Peloton has expanded their YMCA partnership,
which we hoped that they would.
Yeah.
If you're in the greater Chicago area, you're gonna have more chances to have cool YMCA stuff. 18 YMCA community hubs in the Chicago area are going to be equipped with Peloton Bike Pluses and Rows.
So, okay, back up.
Okay.
Okay. Is that the first we've seen? Like,
No.
we've seen bikes out in the free world, but Bike Pluses?
It might be the first Bike Plus, actually, in this kind of setting.
Yeah.
It might be. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now they did start talking about rows in hotels recently, so it's not the first time we've seen a row.
Yeah, it wasn't even like I said, it wasn't the row that
I know.
caught my attention as much as the Bike Plus.
I just knew somebody would ask the question. Somebody out there is wondering, and
Yeah.
I was just filling in the blanks. But it could be the first time on a Bike Plus. It also just makes me wonder how well they'll be able to keep those Bike Pluses up, and are they doing anything differently to them to make them strong enough to have thousands of different people use them?
For sure.
Daily in the OPP, I see somebody complaining about hotel bikes, and
Yeah.
I just don't want to see that happen in
At
this
the
situation.
YMCA,
I
yeah.
don't. Yeah.
I would like to think that maybe the YMCA would take better care of them, because that's the whole reason for their existence. Not spin bikes, of course, but just exercise
Fitness.
in general.
Yeah.
Where at a hotel, that's like an
One of
afterthought.
many things,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
a gym down the hall somewhere. Go
Yeah.
use it. I don't care. The tread's broken, get on a bike. Oh, the bike's broken, you use the free weights.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Right? Like
that
it's-
is exactly right.
So, so maybe that portends better.
I hope so. But that's really cool. That's great. You know, they had already had this connection with the YMCA in Chicago, so
Yeah.
it's awesome to see it, continuing to grow. I hope we see it in other cities soon as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen more YMCAs jumping on this.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even imagine the conversations that go into the types of things that these have to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be worse than a music deal or the same, but it feels like a lot of work.
It probably is, but I guess I would have thought that once they have it established at one YMCA, they'd have a template and they could just roll that out.
Yeah, but see, each YMCA is their own little kingdom. Each city, it's we've got the YMCA of the Greater St. Louis.
Right.
They are completely different from the
Gotcha.
YMCA of Chicago. So I don't know that that's true. They're all the YMCA.
Right, I just thought there'd be an umbrella thing.
I'm not
and-
saying there's not an umbrella. I'm just saying there's probably some bureaucratic red tape that
it's a-
slows things down.
It's a leaky umbrella.
I'm saying it's like anything else. It's a bureaucracy with lots of red tape.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does take a while. Like, a lot of people don't realize that, but the Village People wrote that song in 1962, and it took them that long to be able to release it, which ended up being fortuitous because that song would have sounded very weird in 1962.
It would have.
There'd have been more hand claps, and
Yeah,
that's
true.
sounded more like skiffle. So, good thing that happened.
That is a good thing that happened.
Lululemon had their members weekend.
Yes, at
And
PSNY.
At PSNY. And we own her now. Trish LaLonde, well, we have a lease with an option to buy, attended the event.
Yes, she did.
Took pictures and whatnot, and has reported back to us, and you will now report back her report back.
I will. So it was great. I was a little taken aback by the Peloton next to the Lululemon logo.
Yes.
That really took me. I'm not gonna lie, that freaked me out. I was like, okay, listen, I can handle the logo being on the
Right.
towel. I can handle the logo being in the store, but the P. Really? Right next to the P where we all
You're
took
talking
pictures?
about the photo op.
Yes. The giant P, they had a Lululemon logo. And I'm okay with it.
You said giant P. Sorry.
No, you're not.
You can only expect so much out of me.
You did hold back the first
You
time.
said, yeah. Well, at my age, I'm used to holding back P.
So, but I was really taken back by this.
Yeah.
I'm okay that it's there if it's there for the weekend.
You'll
if it's
allow it.
If it's living there, I am not okay.
Okay.
Not okay. Not okay. But there was tons of Lululemon apparel to be purchased, and everything was 20% off while you were there.
I guess that's a good deal on
That's it.
Lululemon.
No, we're going to yell that for that.
By who?
I don't know, one of our listeners. It's not how you say it, Tom.
Ah.
But yeah, that is a good deal, actually.
Well, I love when bras are 20% off.
Oh my God.
I like it better when they're 100% off.
Anyway, also there was an amazing swag bag that everybody got. There was, not to mention the Lululemon water bottle, but there was also a keychain, and there were like wipes to keep yourself fresh after each workout.
The water bottle's why there's that giant P.
It's funny that you say that, because Trish actually had to purchase an entire carry-on because every single class she went to, they gave her a new one. She ended up with a whole row of Lululemon. If you need a Lululemon water bottle, just
go to her eBay page.
Yeah. I mean, and it was everybody that attended. This happened. This was not a Trish thing.
Yeah.
This was how they designed it.
Right.
I was a little confused by that. Also, they had a special flat instructor little image that you could get.
Okay.
So there were 3 instructors on it. For those of you who are new to Peloton, you may not know what a flat instructor
that's true.
is.
They stopped doing that.
They did. It used to be when you got any kind of apparel purchase, you also got in the mail
a little postcard with an instructor.
Of one of your instructors.
People took to calling them flat instructors.
Yeah, it
like
was
Flat Stanleys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we put them in all kinds of little positions, and we posted them all over the
Careful.
OPP. It was a lot of fun. That's the way the OPP used to be.
OP Giant P.
Yeah, well, it kind of was. Now it is a different place.
Yes.
It's a very different place, and there's very little joy there. But anyway, if you have never seen a flat instructor, you got 3 for 1. They put 3 of the Lululemon instructors,
And since they kept giving her
ambassadors.
bags, I guess she's got the whole set.
Not bags. Not bags.
Oh,
No.
It wasn't in the swag bag?
There was a water bottle in the swag bag, but every single class she went to, she also got another water bottle. Not a whole nother bag.
Oh, just another water bottle.
Just another water bottle.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. So that was the first day. And then the second day, day 2, started off the day with a big community 5K.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. Rebecca Kennedy led it. They had a little warm up beforehand. Tons and tons of people participated in the 5K. They had a huge bank of post-workout snacks, lots of snacks. There were like a lot of different bars and things like that you could get for after you did your run. And then you could go into the recovery lounge, which we also do not have a picture of, but it was they had Normatec set up so you could get your legs refreshed.
Okay.
And then they also had an area where you could do yoga blocks. They also had the thumper guns that you could...
Thumper guns.
Trish called it thumpers, and I can't
Must
stop...
be a Canadian thing.
It probably is,
Call
yeah.
them thumper guns. Down here, we call them Bambi guns.
And they also had that you could try out the new feet. It's a new shoe from Lululemon. It's Good Sense or something like. It's not Good Sense. That's wrong. But something
Not after
like
you've
that.
been running in them.
And you could go try them on in a class. You could just try them walking around. That was all in the recovery lounge. Plus, they had a really cool photo opportunity where you could take selfies in front of a machine, or it could do these little JPEGs of like the moving videos.
Oh, I see. Like the GIFs?
Yes, GIF. That's what I was trying to think of. So that was all day 2. And then at the end of the day, they had a big party, the wrap-up party.
Mm-hmm.
And so this picture of Trish. So then that night, they had a big wrap-up party. And so Trish is here in front of the logos. And they had kind of recreated the whole studio where they had done lights and made it like very party-oriented.
Oh, cool.
And then they also had a special drink menu. And they had a whole bunch of different drinks. They had signature drinks. They also had wine and, that kind of stuff. And I thought it was worth noting they also had non-alcoholic drinks, which
that's nice.
A lot of parties forget to do.
For
so
sure. That
was nice. And then there was a special visitor. Yeah, so Matt James was there from The Bachelor. And it just seemed because he was a Peloton member.
Oh, like it wasn't like...
There was no...
They didn't bring him in for the event.
They might have.
He just wanted to go?
I don't know.
Gotcha.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Undisclosed.
Right.
But he just appeared to be like a member. And then I thought it was really funny because they had a whole thing with Matt James and Adrian Williams. And then there was a big scene where Adrian Williams started twerking and started dancing. They started doing the limbo. It got crazy. And then they started getting other people out on the dance floor. They also had a huge spread of food. And the food just went on and on and on. Like it was a giant buffet of food.
It is a lot of food.
It is, yeah.
I don't know that there's one thing on there I would eat. but it's a lot of food.
No, I don't think
Normal
there is.
people would like it.
Yes.
I assure you.
Yes. And everybody that I've talked to that went had a great time. It was HRI vibes all the way. Everyone had a great time.
Well, that's a big compliment.
And for those of you who don't know what HRI means, that is home rider invasion, which is what they used to call whenever all of the people went in to see Peloton in person. Those days are over.
Yes.
But it was beautiful when it happened. It was wonderful.
Awesome. Well,
some of my favorite days.
Thank you to Trish for getting us all those pictures.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much, Trish.
And coming up after this, we're going to talk to Dr. Jenn. She's going to give you tips for knowing when you are ready for your next challenge.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. You may know her from VH1's Couples Therapy with Dr. Jenn or VH1's Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn or her long-running radio show, The Dr. Jenn Show. She's written 4 best-selling books, including The Relationship Fix, Dr. Jenn's 6-Step Guide to Improving Communication, Connection, and Intimacy. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So we have a question this week from Jackie. Jackie wants to know, she says, all of these instructors and other people on social media that she sees are running races, doing all these things, and she feels very inspired to do one of these big events. But she's really nervous about taking on the challenge. She's been riding her bike for about a year. She's not done a lot of running. How can she go about gaining the confidence to know that she is ready? Or should she find wait and then have a different path forward for now?
I love this question. And I suspect, Crystal, that you do too.
You know it.
Because as two people who have been there and done that, I have a few recommendations.
Okay.
The number one recommendation is start small. The way you get your confidence is by having experiences that are positive when it comes to trying new things and races and events, and then building on it. I do not recommend going from riding your bike for a year, which is awesome, and I commend you, and that's great, to being like, I'm going to run a marathon this year. Like, that's not how it should work. Start with a 5K, or that feels like a lot, then start with a 1 mile run, start with a fun run. And also really do your research on training. I am a huge fan of the Galloway method. When I trained for the LA Marathon in 1999, I worked with the training group called the LA Laggers, and they really pushed John Galloway's method. He's an Olympic runner who says you should use the walk-run method because it avoids injury. It allows you to go longer, and it's just kind of a better kind of approach for the long term, especially if you don't want to end up missing your race because you injured yourself. So I think really understanding kind of what are the pros and the cons of various different methods, being smart about training, and also get some feedback from people who know about this stuff. If you let's say you say, I'm going to do a 5K. Okay, don't just be like, okay, next Saturday I'm doing a 5K. Find out how to train for a 5K. Go online, do some research, talk to someone like Crystal, who's actually certified in this kind, like how to put together a proper exercise regimen in order to prepare yourself for an event like that. Once you've got a 5K or 2 under your belt, try a 10K, try a half marathon, try a full marathon, or whatever the event is that you want to do, but really build up, because you want to build on your success. And also, as we who have done some of these things know, that you kind of, sometimes you do an event and then you're like, it's like sometimes it's the dumb things that kill you. You're like, oh my God, I wore new shoes. I hadn't thought about that. Like that killed my run. And if you do that in a 5K and you learn that, great. You're not going to suffer when you do a full-on marathon. You're going to know that about yourself. Or even just like what power bars, what gels, what hydration methods work best for you. Being able to really kind of figure that out with smaller events and building up to the bigger events is really important.
Oh, yes. Excellent advice.
I can't even imagine doing a marathon.
Who had some really bad blisters.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine doing a marathon with new shoes.
Oh, no.
Like,
no. Just And my shoes were not new. I wish that was my issue.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, but didn't you use new socks?
I did use different socks, but like when I went to go see my physical therapist after Big Sur, he said that he really felt like it was because I had inserts in my shoes because my feet kind of pronate, and I had inserts in there, and he was like, that combined with the fact that we were on, the road we were on was tilted. It wasn't it was tilted to the side, right, where all the water had to drain off. And so those two things combined, my foot didn't have enough room to like flex. I still think in addition to all of those things, I was clenching my toes as I walked. Like, I think I was like, hurry, hurry, hurry. And I was like tense, Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen worse blisters than what you had when we did our Big Sur race. Like, it was unbelievable.
I hope you have
I don't know how you kept up. It speaks to your sheer will.
I mean, I literally kept thinking it cannot get worse than getting hit by a car. I literally was thinking that.
Yeah, you probably would have welcomed that, because at least we would have carried you. Because we wouldn't have let you stop. We would have had to carry you.
I know. When you guys were like, let's run to the finish, I was like, screw you both.
She's like, tell me all about it. Sounds fun.
Yeah, but you made it.
Let me hobble. I did.
Well, definitely start small. Do not start with Big Sur.
No. Start with like Little Ma'am. Yeah, exactly. For sure. Yeah. And also the other thing is, I would say, and I know you will back me up on this, Crystal, is do your research about your event. Like, we went into Big Sur knowing it was like 2,000 foot elevation, that we were going to be facing tough hills and probably some hard elements, some wind. Now, granted, it ended up being like the windiest race that they had in like decades.
Yes.
So, like, not to totally prepare you, but really look at, if you're going to do a 5K, make sure it's not a 5K that's all hills to start with. Like, really look at kind of what's the weather going to be at that time of year. You don't want to do your first 5K in the snow. Like, you want to start in a more gentle atmosphere and work up to more difficult elements.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all that. Until next time, where can people find you?
On social media at Dr. Jenn Mann, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on.
Instructors in the news.
Susie Chan held her book launch party.
She did, yeah. The book is officially out in the UK, and it will be hitting the United States on August 6th. I cannot wait. I thought it all came out at the same time.
Right.
And Susie was like, no. Sad.
I don't know why they do it like that.
I don't know, but every instructor that has a book in both places, it's been that way. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess there's just different, like, publishers already have like a schedule, and so to get on both schedules probably is complex, is the only thing I can think of. Also, the author can't be in 2 places at once, so if there is going to be a press tour...
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, can't do it at the same time.
Yeah. I'm
hoping there will be a press tour. Bring it on to St. Louis, Susie.
I'm sure.
It will never happen.
We get so much Peloton attention here.
I know.
We get so much attention of any kind here.
I know.
We don't get any.
Yeah. St. Louis is not exactly a hotbed of places to stop.
No.
So they call it flyover for a reason.
Right. We're the reason. Blame us.
But I'm super excited for Susie. She had a huge soiree at the London studio, and our very own brand new writer, Kim Holiday, wrote all about it. There was a whole zebra event. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, zebra versus alligator, you're going to have to read the article.
Goodness.
Yeah. This is a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Susie loved it.
So Hannah Corbin is venturing into the world of hosting events, and she is hosting a big one, CMA Fest in Nashville.
Yeah, so she was already there, so it's already happened.
Right.
So I don't remember when the CMA Fest is, because I know you kind of have a loose connection there, but I don't remember when it is. I know it's the same time every year.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when. It just happened this week.
Yeah, but that's a big deal in the world of country music.
Yeah. But she was specifically asked to do it by UMG. Now, do you know anything about the different music groups?
So that's Universal Music Group. So I think it's like what used to be Interscope. I think it got absorbed, and now it's all under the UMG umbrella.
Okay.
I believe that's how that works.
But I suspect this is why we're seeing so many country artists on her Country Music Happy Hour this year.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people pushing it, so probably a lot of cross promotion as part of that deal.
For sure.
Which makes sense and is very cool. I don't know. I always am just like, does she like country music enough to really appreciate how big of a deal this is? Do any of the instructors like country music enough to
I don't know.
I think Matt Wilpers might, only because he's from that area of the country where they really, and I know Hannah likes country music. Like I'm not like being rude. I just like, they don't, that's not the world most of the instructors live in. And I'm just not sure that it like, if they know.
I've always found it fascinating that you don't see more country music in movies. It is such a popular genre of music. There are so many country artists that can sell tens of thousands of tickets, and you never really see country songs pop up in movies. It's always hip hop these days.
Yeah.
And not that hip hop isn't popular, but like so is country. And it used to be you would see country music all the time in movies, and at some point that just completely went away.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's just not, what's that word whenever they say it like crosses multiple different kinds of, generations and lines. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I could only guess, but
when you look at it, I could think of multiple country acts that can sell out stadiums.
Yeah.
But I can only think of like one or two hip hop or top 40 acts that can sell out a stadium.
That's a good point. I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just something I think about because I'm weird.
Well, it's pretty cool. So congrats to Hannah Corbin.
You might remember us talking a while back about Jenn Sherman and her friend Pam Sunshine, who went viral on TikTok and then started a TikTok channel that's doing very well. Mm-hmm. Well, they are extending that into a lifestyle brand and a podcast.
Makes sense. I mean, you gotta strike while the iron is hot. So yeah, that's what's happening. I don't know. There's really not a lot to say here because it's so basic information.
Well,
there's not really anything, but it's going to be, I guess one thing to explain, it's not just going to be fashion. It's also going to be wellness, self-care, food, entertaining, travel, and more. So we will see what comes out.
But lots of instructors showed up to support her. Yeah,
lots of instructors. They all wanted to be there for her big day. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different instructors that all showed up to support her, including Mariana, who in our article where we had all of the graduation things where we said, she was everybody's friend and she shows up for everybody. And I'm just saying that's a great example of the type of thing that she does. She always shows up for everybody.
Well, that's awesome.
It is.
DJ John Michael has launched his own YouTube channel
called Houseplants. Isn't this cool? It's just so random.
Yeah.
Because he's DJing, but with this beautiful background behind him. I talked to him a little bit on Instagram because he was excited that there was an article about it, which there should be. There should be people pushing this.
Right.
And he told me that his, are they married now? Brian King, are they married?
I don't remember.
I can't remember if they're married. But anyway, Brian is the one that grows all those plants.
Oh.
It is not DJ John Michael, because I was like, holy cow, I don't know how you keep all those plants alive, because I kill plants left and right. And he was like, all Brian. And I was like, that is impressive. Air plants, all I can keep alive. So I thought this was beautiful and cool. And season 2, or episode 2 rather, just hit this week. So definitely check that out. DJ John Michael has a great persona, and he's a lot of fun. And we definitely want to make sure that he gets all the recognition he deserves.
For sure. So this is courtesy of Christine Kalie.
Yes.
And she spots Adrian Williams in the wild, but he is unrecognizable.
Yeah, this is actually at the studio.
Yeah.
But she sees this man sitting there. It looks nothing like Adrian Williams.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know who that is.
She's like, security.
So then...
And then she figures out who it is.
It's Adrian Williams with hair.
gasp.
I know. She says, Christine says to him, "Who put hair on your head?" I love that. It's great. I mean, he looks like a completely different individual.
He does. But yes, he's not like me somewhat. Well, he's not like me in a lot of ways. But and I mean that to my detriment, not his. But he's not like me in that he shaves his head because there's no hair there anyway. He clearly has a full head of hair. He just chooses not to.
I think maybe he's not necessarily on board with that gray.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just think it's hilarious. Kirsten Ferguson's face when she sees his hair,
Yeah.
like it's just hysterical.
Well, maybe he has gotten on board with the gray.
Yeah,
Because he's going out that way. He's letting people see it, posting on the.
He's just
on the
like,
gram.
whatever. But it totally changes his look completely. So good for him.
Absolutely.
Letting his gray out.
And coming up after this, we're going to tell you about the latest artist series, or should I say series is because there's more than one. That was plural.
Well, there's one. Yeah, we'll get there.
Peloton artist collaboration.
So this has not been officially announced, but it looks like we have a Lil John artist series in our not too distant future.
Yeah, these classes are showing up on the studio website that you can go and schedule. So just wanted to let everybody know it is on the horizon.
There you go. And we also, for Pride Month, have a Cher collection.
Yeah, and I think I said last week that Maddie had said he had a Cher class coming up Thursday. So I think it's this Thursday dropping that Cher is going to be part of, and it's his first Cher class since Christopher Street.
Okay.
That's how long ago it has been.
Been a bit.
But also, I'm really excited to see it's going to be a series across multiple disciplines. So it'll be an official artist series, not just a one-off class, which is nice.
So yeah, there are actually quite a few classes.
There were. I didn't count them, but it seemed like there was like 15 or 20 classes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of classes. So makes sense for Pride Month.
Absolutely.
Fits right in.
Peloton celebrity sightings.
So we have a celebrity sighting. The image on your screen right now is Tunde, because that's whose class she showed up in. But I believe it's pronounced Tinashe.
Okay.
At least from my checking out on the YouTube.
Okay.
Was in studio taking one of Tunde's classes.
Yeah, and then both Cody and Tunde learned the nasty dance.
That's her new single.
Yeah, so apparently that's a thing, and you got to like put your finger in your mouth to make it a whole thing. I don't know. It's
we just stopped COVID. What are we doing?
in your own mouth, but I guess still, yeah.
And then you're going to be touching doorknobs, and here we go again.
I'm sure everyone washed their hands before and after.
It is called nasty.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, there was a lot of dancing, a lot of fun. People were excited about it, so that's cool.
And she took a photo with everybody afterwards.
So nice for her to hang out and do a group photo like that.
But yeah, so she was, I guess, had a reoccurring role on 2.5 Men. She did motion capture for Polar Express. And then she's like, this is just, I'm a rock guy. But yeah, so she's been...
Well, I also heard she was on Dancing with the Stars season 20 as well.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But yeah, it shows that I'm just reading the Wikipedia. She was in Night Ride and Joyride, which are unrelated films. Although I watched Joyride on the plane, and it was really funny. I like that a lot.
I feel like I remember you watching that one.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that's really cool.
That is really cool.
New content.
So every week, we ask you to recommend your favorite classes, and then we share them with the world. So here it is, the TCO Top 5.
All right, so the first one is a running class. This is the Intro to Pace Targets with Matt Wilpers, which I have to say I took. We talked about it last week.
Yes.
Loved it. Jenny Kalie, I'm not saying that name right. I'm so sorry, Jenny K, but I can't say your last name. She is so excited about this feature. She loves power zones on the bike, so having something similar on the tread is amazing. Plus, Matt is so knowledgeable about running. So true.
Absolutely. Next item up for bid.
Favorite Peloton ride. So this was the sold out show with Jenn Sherman that took place on 6/9. So I believe this was the Rolling Stones. So this was all Rolling Stones music. Nancy Nielsen described this ride as amazing. It was a Stones sing-along. All the songs you know and love are there, and the smile never left my face during the ride.
Awesome.
Next is the favorite Peloton hike. This took place on June 6th. It was Crush Your Climb with Emma Lovewell. Obviously, her debut hike.
This is her. Yeah.
And people were super excited about it.
The first of her residency.
That's right.
As we now know.
Listen to this. Christina Kalie, who happens to be our interview this week.
Yeah.
She is the one who said
Look at that.
She picked this class. It was the first of Emma's tread classes. And she said the energy was electric, not only from Emma, but from the other fellow instructors in the room cheering her on.
Yeah, I quit hogging up all the spotlight there, Krista. And then Christina, sorry.
And then we had a favorite Peloton outdoor run. This took place on February 29th with John Hosking. It dropped that day. It was an outdoor 80s run. Connie Park recommended this one and said, what a playlist. John's songs will take the Gen Xers back to those high school gymnasium dances, complete with aqua net and plenty of neon. I took this class. It was fabulous.
Joke's on you. I'm Gen X. I never went to a dance.
Well,
shocking, I know.
Sometimes, Tom.
And then finally, your unstackable.
Yes. So this was a full body tread boot camp class from June 9th. Just Sims 60 minutes, because they all are. Saturday 60. I'm sorry, Sim 60.
Nope.
Sim 60.
No Saturdays.
Woo, my bad.
Taking the Sabbath off.
So, yeah, Just is always going to put you in a place where you're not going to want to take another class after this. So, everybody was chatting about this one. So, good one.
Awesome. You know what? I just remembered we forgot to do our bingo call out.
We did. And I think it was me that remembered, but that's okay.
No, it was me.
You going to take credit for that?
I am.
Okay. Well, bingo number 2 this week is Aditi Shaw.
Glad I was here to help you.
Me too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's take a look at what's coming up this week at Peloton.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. There is going to be Crush Your Climb,
which we just talked about.
And again, that's going to be all through the month of June, every Thursday. Also, City to Surf. So Peloton Australia announced they are going to be official partners with City to Surf. That's this really big run that's iconic. It takes place every August. And there's going to be 2 special classes, one with Kira Michelle and one with Joslyn Thompson Rule.
Okay.
There's going to be a focus flow for runners and Aussie Heartbreak Hill Run with Joslyn that's going to premiere on June 13th. And you can also learn more about City to Surf and get involved.
And it is a big deal because I remember talking about that in the past.
Yeah,
it's
last year. Yeah.
We also have tropical house classes.
Yes. So you can keep the festival vibes going with the new classes that are dropping from Callie Gullickson, John Hosking, and Marcel Maurer. They are all on demand. Live classes are also going to be added to the schedule too. So you're going to be able to dance through your workouts all summer long.
And speaking of dancing, there's new dance cardio.
There is. That's right. There are 4 new classes that dropped with Camilla Ramon, Hannah Corbin, Leanne Hainsby Aldis. They are all going to be on demand this week. One of them is going to be in Spanish.
It is, of course, Pride Month.
Woohoo!
So let's take a look at what they've got in store for you.
It's a lot.
I'm sure it is.
This has been the weirdest Pride rollout they've ever done because they did this whole big thing for Germany and the Pride Ball in Germany.
Right.
And then later they came out with a Pride Ball in the United States, but not on the same day. So it's really weird and confusing.
Okay.
Here's the deal.
Well, a lot of people have 2 balls.
There's going to be 4 different genres from allies and artists beyond the binary. That's the idea.
Okay.
So there's queer coded. So you're going to rock out with allies and artists beyond the binary of gender and sexuality. There's also going to be Pump the Beat, which is going to be able to celebrate the creativity and imagination of Pride with music deep in vogue. There's also Hyperpop, light up the dance floor with electrifying beats that shout, here and queer.
Okay.
Not to mention Camp, embrace the flamboyance and playfulness of Pride with these camp classics.
Okay.
So all that's happening. There's a bunch in Germany. There's a bunch in the United States. There's lane breaks. It's all over the place. It's going to be all month long. It's going to be great.
Awesome. So we also have TS60 that's out there.
Yes.
And we have an article explaining that to people.
We do. So also written by Kimberly Holiday, one of our new writers.
I just thought it was like the length of a VHS tape, right? No. There was the 60s, the 90s, and the 120s.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Huh. Well, it's been rebranded. It's been taken over.
It's competing with Samuel's video store.
Well, this is called Total Strength 60.
Oh.
It's a 60-minute strength class. And Andy Spear went on to socials the other day, and he talked about why you need to take them, what benefits it has. He goes on for a while, but the main things that you need to know are that every month there is a different training focus. There will be total strength 60-minute classes every week, and each month they build on each other. Okay. So if you're looking for programs that are going to help you do progressive overload and get better and stronger, this is a great place to be, because every month you're going to have a different training focus, like I said. So that is the cool part. You're going to be able to work on strength, power, coordination, and balance, better overall athleticism. So make sure you check out the series with Andy Spear.
And of course, if you're looking to venture into the world of marathons, we now have Peloton's Road to Half Marathon.
Yeah, people have been looking for this for a long time. So this is going to be a 10-week 52-class collection. I really think it's interesting because Peloton calls it a program, but they put it in collections. Nothing like confusing people, guys.
No kidding.
Now, remember, a program is like locked until you go to the next week. So I'm actually really glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot more flexibility. You can pick and choose as you want to go. But on the other hand, whenever you have structure, you know what classes and how to program it because it's already been done.
Right.
So that's the whole point of a program. A little confusing for people who are just starting out. They may not know exactly where they need to go. But it's 10 weeks of classes. You're going to get your strength. You're going to get your, you're going to have tempo classes. You're going to have endurance runs. You're going to be able to do all of the things you need to do. And remember, it is completely different than just taking a marathon training and cutting it in half. That is not the way to approach this. And that's why they didn't do that or tell people to do that. So, don't do that. Take this, and you will have lots of expert guidance from all the different instructors.
In case you missed it.
So, wanted to bring this up because we found a meditation that we thought was kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how you don't laugh at it. Like,
it's an NBA pregame meditation.
Like, what are we meditating about?
What?
I don't even know. Like,
it's so weird.
And listen, I don't say that to like I love Chelsea. Whether this was her idea or not her idea. I don't
especially like I'm about to watch a sporting event. I better meditate.
I know. Like maybe it's to help you like get in the right headspace that it doesn't matter who wins and we don't need to be yelling at each other. I don't know. That's the only thing I can.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Yeah, I guess we should say that you haven't taken it.
I have
so
not
maybe if
taken
you took it, you'd have a totally different vibe about it. But it was just like it was a head scratcher.
It was a head scratcher. Yeah. And I do absolutely love Chelsea. I'm sure there is a better take on this than what I have. But just at first glance, I was just like, what are we doing?
Like what?
What?
Yeah.
But I also thought it was interesting that there was this article that it's everywhere, but I got the one off of Yahoo because it doesn't require me to sign in for anything.
Right.
And I thought this was this was meaningful because this article is saying that the NBA is like on this really rampage to make sure that they are out in front of everyone all the time.
Yeah.
Now, we know that Peloton signed a partnership agreement with them, but I thought it was interesting because I keep seeing these little crayon drawings. I don't really get why Peloton keeps doing them. I haven't really gotten the point of them. And so I still don't get the point.
Yeah.
But I'm not the demo. I do think, though, that it kind of explains to me why we're seeing things like a meditation, why we're seeing things like these weird stories that look like crayon drawings. Like the NBA is just trying to get in front of as many different kinds of people as possible.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was worth pointing out.
Which I guess makes sense because, I mean, on the one hand, you're like, oh, the NBA, they're already huge. But on the other hand, like the Major League Baseball was really huge and it's still huge, but like it does not command the focus the way it did 20 years ago.
Oh, it definitely does not.
And so I think that maybe that's their fear is that, Major League Baseball kind of rested on their laurels thinking that like, well, of course we'll always be the 800-pound gorilla. And now they're a 600 pounds.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you can't blame somebody for trying to stay ahead and keep growing.
Especially in today's world, like it's so hard to stay in front of people.
There's so many different places to get in front of them.
Right. Like it used to be, there was a handful of outlets. You went to those outlets, and especially if you had a brand as established as MLB.
Yeah, absolutely.
But them days is over.
Long gone.
And real quick, Peloton apparel has some new Cadent styles.
Yeah, and I think this is it's actually just more colors, and they have it in brown and black and navy, so new colors. I don't know. Apparel's going to have to mix things up. I don't know. Maybe it's time to bring back Jill Foley.
I think that's unlikely.
I know. It's too bad because I don't know. I'm bored with the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's been months. It's been months since I've bought anything.
So maybe this isn't a bad thing.
For you. But I've heard other people say that. And I think when we talk about Peloton and like what's best for them, it concerns me because there's sales constantly. There's like, it's not what it used to be, which is like they would put something out and everybody went for it. It was like insanity.
Yeah.
And then it was a treasured piece that you had and that is gone.
Yeah.
And I miss that for Peloton.
Yeah.
I think that was a good thing.
Yeah, I think they see it more as a revenue generator, where before it was kind of a brand enhancement.
Yeah.
And there was like,
it was special.
It had cachet, and
Yeah.
now it's like, well, everybody's got Peloton leggings or sports bras or what have you.
Exactly.
Peloton birthdays.
2 birthdays, one I missed. Again, I'm on a real roll.
Well, it was that same week.
It was, yeah.
Same week.
So Assal, Arian on
Yes.
June 9th. We missed that one, so sorry about that. And then coming up on June 15th, Joslyn, Thompson, Rule.
Happy birthday to both.
Happy birthday. And coming up after this, we're going to have our interview. We're going to talk to Christina Kalie, so sit tight.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Christina Kalie. Hey, Christina, how's it going?
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here. Well, if you listen, you know how I always start these. I want to go back in time. How did you originally find Peloton?
So crazy enough, someone I went to college with had the Peloton in like 2017, 2018, so like the OG group. So I knew about it then, but like being a college student, was living in a dorm, so Peloton wasn't really accessible for me. Flash forward to like 2023, I was having the hardest time being like an adult, trying to schedule like my life, fitness classes. We just got a puppy, we're getting married, so there's like so much going on, and trying to balance my schedule with a boutique fitness like studio owner's schedule.
Wait, are you marrying a puppy? Is that what you just said? I don't think they're cute, but draw the line.
There was a comma in there.
Okay, because I was like
puppy and fiance.
Okay,
but basically, I was like, it's so hard to balance like working 2 jobs, like planning a wedding, dealing with a puppy. It's basically a kid. So I'm like, it was so hard for me to balance and prioritize fitness in my schedule. So I knew about Peloton for years. Obviously, the pandemic, everybody had the bike. And, you know, with the lead times with getting the bikes, it was just nearly impossible. We were in the process of buying a house in the pandemic. So once, you know, everything settled down, cooled down, you know, settled with the dog, I was like, you know what, let me dive in. Let me look into Peloton. And surprisingly, like the bike, like looking at it from an outsider point of view, it's very expensive with a, you know, just looking at the ticket price. Mm-hmm. But I ended up financing it through a firm, and I pay like $48 a month for the bike. So it's like, why would you not?
Right?
It's literally like, I don't know what took me so long.
Well, and so many times you can get 0% financing so many times too. And so like, literally. It's like, why would you not do that? Take your time, literally. You know, and I mean, not some people can't even afford that. So like, and I'm not knocking it. Like you can't, but if you can, like, it's a great way to do it.
It's more affordable to do that than actually like doing like a series of bar classes with a class pass or something. So for me, it made the most sense to do it that way. And I'm paying on it. I know I'm going to, like, I use it every day. So it's like, why would you not? So for me, I'm like, why did I wait so long? Like, it is, yes, like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like that's a conversation we had quite frequently in the first few years of the episode,
yes.
of people talking about coming to like doing the math and realizing the sticker price seems high, but the value proposition, when you actually break it out per month and per class, it is significantly cheaper than trying to do that through a gym.
And now more than ever,
Yeah,
you can
for
get
sure.
so many different kinds of classes. I mean, it's a really good deal.
And different kinds of bikes, right? Like not just bike and bike plus, but you can get refurbished or you
true, yeah.
Or they made it so much easier to buy on the secondary market with the little Toole they've got now. I know this is starting to sound like a commercial, but you were listening to a Peloton podcast anyway, so like that's on you. But yeah, like it used to be like, oh, it's $2,200. Suck it. And
Yeah.
like now they have a lot of different ways to access that. Or buy a different bike totally and
Use
just
your
the app.
iPad.
So
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. That's what I do with the tread. I am probably buying the tread very soon, but that's what I do with the tread now is just hook up my iPad, put my headphones in and go. And that's the nice thing about that too.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I have to ask what kind of puppy you got, though. I feel like that's an important thing we skipped over, and I need to know.
She's a mini golden doodle. Her name's Maui.
Aww.
She's something.
Yeah. Well, she didn't destroy.
You can probably hear her barking a little bit.
She didn't like try to chew up your cord on your bike or anything.
Thankfully not.
Okay.
That is the one thing. She has severe separation anxiety. So our bike's in our basement. So I like to ride when my fiance is like home. So then that way I don't have to like leave her and like put her in a crate or something and not let her like free roam because that scares me and I would not want something to happen to her or my equipment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
God, we used to have a dog, Marshall, and Marshall was the weirdest dog because he had severe separation anxiety, except for like when we were home.
He acted like we
wanted
just
nothing to
beat
do
him
with
all
us.
the time. Like he just always had this mopey look. Like he was like, if Eeyore came to life in a dog, it was Marshall.
Yeah.
He always looked like.
Yeah.
Always.
What kind of dog was he?
It was like a German Shepherd, but like black. Like he was
Yeah.
all black and gray. And when he barked, he had like the biggest bark. Like people thought he was gonna like eat them.
Like
and
he sounded ferocious.
He
like we
did.
almost didn't adopt him because he barked, and we were just like, "Whoa, that's too much dog for us." And then but then he just kind of sat there and was like, "So now what?" And
Yeah.
we were like, "Oh, okay, okay, Marshall." Yeah.
I'm such a dog gal, so I had to ask.
Yeah.
Do you have your own voice that you do when you talk for the dog?
Oh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. If someone heard me, they'd be like, what is this girl doing? Like, what is wrong with her?
So Marshall's
It's
voice,
so funny.
the voice I always did for Marshall was, and this is deep nerd stuff, but Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the TV show from the BBC. There's a robot who's like a clinically depressed robot, and he's supposed to have a brain the size of a planet, but they only have him ever do like butler things, and he would always walk around and be like, brain the size of a planet, and they have me opening doors. Like that was Marshall. That was Marshall.
Dogs are so special.
They are. They really are. Okay, back to Peloton. So when you decided to get the bike, what had your fitness life been up until that point? Was it just like dabbling? Did you like work out all the time? How did that work for you?
Definitely. So growing up, I did competitive cheerleading and I was in like the pre-professional ballet space.
Oh, wow.
So I always grew up doing something. I did track and field in like middle school, high school. So like I always had like something going on. The pandemic happened and I was like, you know what? I need to work out more. I went to school for athletic training. So I kind of had like a science kinesiology background.
Oh.
So I was like, you know what? Post-graduation, like let's dive deep in, like let's do this. So I was working out on YouTube with a trainer, Sydney Cummings. She's amazing. I love her stuff. But after you do like the same person for the same like a good amount of time, it kind of gets not redundant, but it was just like I'm looking for something more.
I'm a little worried
So
about your
I was
upcoming
doing-
marriage. Uh-oh.
It's hysterical. But I just felt like her workouts were great for me, but that was like the pandemic time in my life and I needed to, advance forward and doing, different boutique fitness classes and stuff and trying to, coordinate my schedule with other people's schedules. It was like, I start my day at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I get home from work at 4:30. in the afternoon? Am I going to job 2? Am I doing social media stuff? Like, what am I doing? And then it's like, oh, wait, let me go to a fitness class. So it was just like a lot to balance, and then cook dinner, you know, shower, go to sleep and get your life all over again.
Yeah.
So for me, definitely, I'd say like pretty high level of fitness. And then we got the dog. Obviously, it's like having a baby. So like kind of like went downhill. I don't know what that's like, but I could assume it's a lot just from a puppy.
It's like that on testosterone because they keep growing and developing and you have 18 years of it. And like with a dog, they get to a certain point where they're just like, they're on autopilot. You know what to expect. You have your routine. But no, kids, they'll constantly change it up on you. You think you know, and then they turn into teenagers and then it's a whole new world.
Not looking forward to that.
No.
But the dog was enough. And, you know, like once she hit like the year mark, it was like, all right, like let's dive in. Like, let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned in our like off screen topics when we were going back and forth that like you feel so much better now that you've done Peloton. I want to hear more about that. Like what way? Why? How did that happen?
Definitely, yeah. So like just like mentally, I feel like I am just in such a good headspace. Not that I wasn't before, but like now I think like just with the crazy endorphins that just like get pumped through your body when you're doing these classes, like I feel happier. And like people have mentioned it to me and they're like, you just seem so much happier.
Aww.
And not that I wasn't happy before, but just I think from doing these classes and you're in this community and you're connecting with people on the leaderboard, I don't like smile, like literally talking to you guys, like, I don't know. I feel so much better. And then like, obviously like you have the physical side to things too. You're doing crazy amounts of workouts, you know, you're ranking up these classes. So I think mentally and physically just like in such a better place than what I was at before.
No, that makes sense.
That's one of those compliments that you have to stop and make sure it's actually a compliment.
One of my supervisors came up to me the other day and he was like, Christina, I have never seen you not smiling.
If I don't smile, I think that people think I'm mean. So I'm just going to keep smiling.
No, that's I really that resonates with me because I get that a lot. Although my face apparently transforms quite a bit when I don't smile, so I think it's been kind of drilled into me to smile all the time. It's like beyond resting bitch face. I just look like, you know. So I gotta
active bitch face.
It is active bitch face. So I smile all the time.
I was like, when we were in New York, we were at Peloton Studios on Monday, and I'm like, I need to like practice my faces because sometimes when you're riding and it's hard, you know, you're like,
yeah,
like give me face. Like Kendall this morning on one of the classes, she's like, show me your teeth, like give me your grit, and I'm like, but yeah, no, like literally practicing my faces because I'm like, oh my god, what if someone like sees my face and it's not nice?
That's such a sad thing that like I've only ever heard women worry about.
Yeah, men never worry about that.
You know,
no.
Because men don't have to worry about being approachable. They never have to worry about it. Like men can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and literally get away with it. And women, no, there will be hell to pay. Hell to pay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you
Sounds
have
like changing the subject.
Like I'm like this road ends with me getting yelled at.
He's like, I am changing the subject.
Moving right along. Says you got a vlog. Let's talk about that.
Oh, but really, tell us about your vlog.
Really.
How did you get started with it?
My vlog. So I started doing TikTok around the pandemic, and I had a couple of videos go pretty viral, and I was doing a lot of different content. It was niche, but it wasn't niche. It was like Peloton. It was Lululemon. It was like shop with me's, hauls, just like fun, silly stuff. But like that stuff adds up after a while. And it's like, you're not making money off of things. You're just doing it. And, you know, you have this community that's behind you. And when I got the bike, I was like, I can make some friends doing this. I can really just make a journal and be accountable and just use this as like my online diary. So I was like, you know what? I try to get content out every day. Let me go ahead and film these videos, give reviews of classes, take classes that people are asking me to do, and let's run with it and see how it goes. So I started doing like ride my Peloton with me day. I'm up to like, I think 250 now. So it's so funny when my friends see me and they're like, so what day are you on now? And everybody knows. And it's just, it's so funny. But I definitely feel like for me, like it's just built such a really awesome community. And I have so many friends on the leaderboard now that have followed me on like TikTok, and they're like, beginning.
So they go back to the beginning and watch all of them with you?
Oh, yeah.
That's fun. So has that changed how you interact with the classes? Like, has that, over time, as people have started following you or asking for classes, has it changed what you perceive coming at you from Peloton or how you interact with it?
Yes and no. I feel like for me, like, thankfully, like when I like am like picking up my phone and like vlogging like a 2-second like portion of the class, it does kind of make me stop and think like, oh wait, they said something funny. Oh, I wish I got that on tape, that kind of thing. And like when we were at studios on Monday, I wasn't thinking about vlogging and I was like really living in the moment and having fun. So in a way, I kind of feel like it does take away from my like experience because I'm focusing on like, you know, vlogging it and getting it up and getting the right piece of content in that like little snippet of the class. But at the same time, I feel like I've definitely have been like, guys, give me recommendations on classes, or like, hey, I just took this. I really loved it. If you haven't taken it yet, definitely go ahead and bookmark that for your stack later.
Yeah. Yeah. I can, that also really resonates with me because whenever, it's like, you want to try to make everything accessible to everyone, you know, and back when we first started the podcast, there were so many people that couldn't get to the studio because and they couldn't even go to like a store. It's kind of returning to that world now. But there were so many people that like wanted to know what is it like at the studio? What does it look like? How does it feel? And we didn't really have a lot of ability to see that. So like when we would go to homecoming or something like that, we had to like really put a lot of content out, or I felt obligated to, not like somebody made me do it. But like to your point, it kind of does take you out of that moment because you want to make sure and get that for everybody else. And so it is a little hard to do both at the same time.
Sure. And it's like producing that good content that you want to put out and not just posting something because you have to.
Yeah.
So like, that's like, for me, like if an instructor says something, I'm like, oh, that's so funny. I wish I got that on tape. And I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Like, I'm not going back. Like, we are moving forward with this. I will get Cody's going to say something funny. Kendall's going to say something funny. So I totally get you on that.
Yeah.
So do you take any of the other classes or you just bike and tread?
So I love the bar classes with Allie Love. They are my absolute favorite. I worked at a bar studio for a little bit of time and I love bar. So when I saw that these classes were so readily accessible and they're all different lengths of time, I was like, yes, I am hooked. Like, let's do it. So I love her classes. I love the strength classes, like just like adding on like a good 10-minute arms after a workout, or just like on the bike, adding like a 10-minute arms on. It's simple, effective. Like, I love that. And then just stretching classes too. The post-ride stretches, I think, have really like elevated the game for me, and just adding that on quick for a little 5-minute post-ride stretch onto my stack, I think has definitely changed the game.
That's awesome. So you were talking about visiting the studio recently. Was that your first time in the studio?
Yeah, so I was part of the group that was invited with like the newcomers.
Oh,
or, like,
yeah,
the
yeah. First time Friday first timers or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was in the group that was invited with Kendall's like original class. We got the date changed. I had like total PTSD when I got the email that it was like, oh, the date has been changed, because it went from the 22nd to the 29th.
Yeah.
So then I had to like delete my PTO, re-add in my PTO. My supervisor was probably like, what is wrong with this girl? Does she not know the date? But so we ended up changing the date, and then we got the notification that the class got changed from a 30-minute to a 45-minute, and it got changed from Kendall to Emma. I guess Kendall was still at Coachella or something, or Stagecoach, whatever she was at. So we took the class with Emma, and I literally cannot express enough how amazing that class was. And like, we all obviously were expecting it to be Kendall since February, and we were like that kind of sucks. But Emma is so amazing. She's so iconic. So we were like, let's do this. Like, let's go. My fiance, Grant, he actually got invited to come into the class with us.
Oh.
He was like, he's the nicest person. He was talking to the security guard. The security guard was like, come on, watch the class on the TV.
Aww.
He got talking to the girls out front that were doing like the check-ins. And he ran to the restroom, came back, and one of the girls came out and they were like, we have one bike available. Do you want to take the class? He's never ridden Peloton once. Never has. And it was a 45-minute ride. So I'm sitting there with the girls that I know from online. And somebody comes up and taps me on the shoulder. And it was him. I was like, are you coming to say hi? Like, what's going on? He's like, I'm taking this class. I'm like, no, you are not. You're not taking this class. You're kidding me. It's 45 minutes. You're going to die. And he's like a natural athlete. So I knew he was going to be fine. And he's like, I'm taking the class. Now, keep in mind, like, you know, clipping in, clipping out, like, that's a whole entire thing on itself for somebody who's never been there. And the class is starting like 5 minutes. I'm like, good thing, A, you were dressed in fitness clothes because you were going to walk around New York after. I'm like, you lucky duck. People literally like try to get into these classes. They're biting tooth and nail to get into these classes. And there he is strolling in. Hey, I'm here. I'm like, you're here. And the whole time I'm watching him behind me, I kept like turning around. I'm like, is he dead? Is he okay?
He was fine.
His best life. I'm like, I love that for you. He went home, bought the shoes, and now he's riding my bike.
Aww.
Amazing. Like, literally amazing. And now we're like, let's buy the tread. So that's where we're at. They know what they're doing there. They know what they're doing at Peloton Studios. They know.
They do. And it's the best crew at the studio. Like, they take such good care of everybody. They really do.
I'm like, New York, like, I'm close to New York, but I'm like, you have like the anticipation, like, oh, New Yorkers, like, everybody's so cutthroat. Oh my God, they're like, let me take a photo of you. Do you need help with like the adjustment on your bike settings? Do you need another top? Like, the nicest people in the world. I could not believe it.
Yes.
Even to get the tour of the studios, like, I was expecting to go in and just be like, here you go, figure it out. They're like, oh, they have somebody waiting for you. They're going to take you on a tour. I'm like,
well, that's right. I do want to say for people listening, that is probably because you got the invite. I don't think because that was the first time you were there. That is not something they do for everyone. I just want people hearing.
Set expectations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, you're fine.
No, you're fine. I just want to make sure people know that.
Totally caught off guard with that, though.
And the reason that your husband got in is because. Wait, are you guys married at this point? You are married, right?
October.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Married.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Your fiance, he probably got in because they had a wait list open up last minute. And so like if they didn't have anybody there to fill up that spot, then they'll just like offer it to people. And that's why like I am always trying to spread the word. Getting in on the wait list is the best way to do it. So
but I guess there probably wasn't a wait list if it was an invite only class, right?
They still open up those spots. No, you're fine.
I thought it would be like secret.
If they are like, if a person says they can't go, they'll open it up to the public. Yeah,
gotcha.
That's what they'll do.
Yes, and that's what they said to him. They were like, we have it. You're here. We're offering it to you. If you don't want it, we are going to extend this out. But you're the first person that we see. You have someone in that class. Do you want to take it with her?
Yep.
And he's like, absolutely, yes. And I'm like, how did that happen?
He's a lucky guy.
Coming up here with the intent to take this class.
He's a lucky guy.
Now he's hooked. So I'm like, all right, they just got another person.
That's awesome.
The stock is now up to $2.98. They got another person.
If only that's how the stock market worked.
So what is your leaderboard name?
My leaderboard name is Christina with 2 A's, Kaay.
Okay. And is there like a special reason for that?
Honestly, so funny story. I got Instagram like back when I was in like 9th grade when like Instagram was like just coming to life.
Yeah, me too.
And 9th grade. And I was sitting there with my friends and I was like, I need a name. And I kept going back and forth on the username and everybody always called me Christina K. Christina K. So I was like, on another A to the name Christina. And then just spell out K. So I put K and I was like, well, there's 2 A's in the Christina. So I'll just add 2 A's and a Y. So dumb. It's literally so dumb. But now it's like something that stuck with me. I'm 27. I'm like, yeah, to this day, still using the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's your brand now. So
That's it.
You got to stick with it.
Although when you get married, will you take his name Will that be a whole thing?
I am taking his name, but I'm like, now people know me as Christina K.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall gave me 2 shout-outs in class one day as Christina K. I can't change my name now.
No, you can't.
Terrible.
Maybe you can get him to change his name.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. He should change his name.
I mean,
go through all the fees.
You got him into a Peloton class. I feel like he owes you that, you know?
He does. Yeah. He could be great, Kalie. I love that.
Or you could just both pick a whole new last name.
There you go.
You know what? We could put them together.
Yeah. There you go.
Your last name could be Peloton.
Better. Even better.
So do you have a preferred instructor?
I know you guys ask this question a lot and everybody says the same thing, and I'm going to say the same exact thing. I feel like I like so many different instructors for different reasons.
Okay.
So, same thing. So my top 5, I'd say, is like Emma, Kendall, Cody, Allie Love, and Olivia. All 5 people, they all do awesome things. They're so different, but I like all their music choices and I love their personalities, and everybody just brings something different to the table. So those are like my 5 ride or dies.
That's great. No, that's a good combo. And I like that you have like 5, you know, I that are like your top go-tos. I'm sure you still take classes with lots of other instructors, but I feel
Absolutely.
like when there's such a huge list of instructors, we all have a couple that like we super like hone into. Those are just the ones you like connect with the most. So
absolutely, they're the ones that I'm like always taking on like the live classes. Like every like Wednesday, I'm taking West Coast Wednesday at 9 o'clock. If it's a good class, not Tabata. But like I look at the schedule, I'm like, okay, cool. We're doing a Cody 5:30 class on a Friday. Like Emma just had her live class on Friday. So it's like I look at the schedule. I'm like, okay, yeah, this fits into my schedule. I'm going to take it live, and if not, then I bookmark it and save it for later.
That's awesome.
So do you have any advice for people just entering the world of Peloton, like your fiance?
Yeah, exactly like him. I'm, I guess, pretty new to Peloton myself, as I've only had the bike not even a year yet. So my biggest thing for me was I love taking the You Can Ride series that they offer. I guess they have it for like the rower, they have it for the tread. For the bike, it's 3 weeks, 3 classes. And you really get to see the different instructors and really get a feel for what their music's like and what they have to offer and bring to the table. So I really like that because I was able to take different class like lengths and styles. So I was really able to see everybody. So I love doing that. So I would definitely recommend getting the bike and starting with that. And then adding in like those beginner rides, the advanced beginner rides, and just really starting with that and getting a feel for what instructor you connect with the most, or what group of instructors you connect with the most. And then kind of what I said before, adding in those extra like stretches, the post-ride stretch, post-ride like cool downs, the warm-ups, all of that are really great to add into that stack, as you're getting your body prepared for the class, and then you're able to kind of cool yourself down and get your heart rate going. And then stretching, obviously, we can all use a good stretch. So Definitely adding that in, I think, has changed the game for me.
Very good advice.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, remind everybody where they can find you in all the places,
including your vlog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Including the vlog. So TikTok, it's just my name, Christina Kalie. Christina spelled with a CH. And then on Instagram, and my Peloton leaderboard name is Christina with 2 A's, Kaay. And it's funny.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe, and you can find me on the other socials and on the leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me in Hawaii. Would you care to join me?
I would.
Okay. You can also find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and if you just can't get enough of us, well, there's more of us over on Patreon at patreon.com/The Clip Out, where you get bonus content, ad-free episodes, and if we get it early, you get it early. So come join us, won't you? Until then, keep pedaling
and running
and rowing.
Bye.
Clip in,